for a deep run in playoffs off of a game like this. Otherwise, I think you're a 5th place team right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think that if they finish top 5, I think that's really good for FlyQuest. Based on the investment, based on the expectations in the preseason. There's not as many big names on this team. When you look at a lot of the rosters that shelled out a lot of money to get big stars, people didn't have them up there. So already, I think they have been doing a great job exceeding expectations. They look like a very cohesive team. But they are not favored for sure against 100 Thieves, who has been very, very strong.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll grab that overlay back here pretty quick. But Jinx Thresh, really, really strong bot lane there, grabbed up for Johnsun and Aphromoo. I'm interested to see if we're going to get more Zillion and Veigar and that kind of stuff in the LCS, because it's kind of being splashed in a little bit now. We saw the Veigar ban last time, and it actually does. Wow, it actually got... Did that get locked? Or
yeah, they're on the bans.
That's great. So
great.
This was I was going to mention, just because Corki we saw against EG yesterday when TL brought it out. Then today, EG banned Veigar against another team to first pick Corki. So that leads me to believe it's more than TL that is picking out Veigar as this, we're not going to call it counterpick, but as an answer, or as a strong champion that can scale freely through the lane against it, whatever you want to kind of say.
Right. Yeah.
I think Veigar has tremendous value in the later stages if you're not punished in the early game. And Corki isn't a champion that can really punish you in the early game. And even just the threat of that cage, we saw with Predator ganks, you come with the Predator, you drop down the cage. If your jungler's there, Corki has to Valk out. You can kind of put on some pretty significant pressure there. And if you ever do get caught, it can be a bit of a death sentence, but banning out some early game junglers alongside that. The Olaf, the J4 taken out, Volibear kind of really rising in priority, Udyr getting some play. I think Jose actually played it yesterday, I want to say, or...
his Lee Sin yesterday was definitely what he played, but we have seen some Udyr running around.
Maybe it was in their game. I had that in my head.
It was. I can look it up.
Either way, we've been seeing some Udyr kind of rising to priority as well. So getting some new jungle picks, it feels like... Okay, that's what it was. They're just in the game.
Yeah.
It feels like we have been seeing that role maybe evolve the most. Bot lane has stayed, I would say, fairly stagnant throughout the year.
Yep.
But junglers, we're getting more mix-ups. Hecarim has been brought in a couple times. Hecarim getting brought in again. So you have some pretty hard engage now with the Hecarim, the Thresh, and the Veigar kind of for zoning, for follow-up. Trundle as an answer, you would definitely be winning that duel. The Xin is available as well. So Xin feels like a pretty obvious option for closer. He's also very well known for his Viego, which is up and on the table. Has been so good on that for many, many years. Gnar would make sense as a pretty safe blind. You're not really that worried about some of the more traditional counters because Aurelia has been banned out. Jace is another strong answer that's used a lot in top lane, and that's also banned out. So most of the ones that you'd be really terrified about that are common in pro play are already off the table. So it'll be interesting to see what Kumo actually wants to play into this Gnar, because Ssumday has been very good on this pick throughout his career. Kumo, could just bring out something like the Graves, pretty standard stuff. Besides that, he's played Aurelia, which is banned, Ornn, which is up, but you probably wouldn't really want that as an answer unless you're just trying to go full on hard engage and play around the Jinx and the Veigar. And then he's played 2 roaming smite supports. And I do think that could also fit into this comp where you have 2 scaling carries and a jungler that you want to power up and kind of support. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it unless they don't feel that it's kind of working as much anymore, because Gnar is also not that champion that just ends the game through split push. Such as we've seen through some of the other ones.
Ooh.
But it is going to be Tryndamere. Very interesting. I do think that this is a tough matchup early on. You're going to get pushed in. Tryndamere can scale very effectively against the Gnar. And Tryndamere does hit a certain point where once you have enough levels and you have enough CDR, you can kind of just run down almost every range champion. And we kind of saw that evolution of Tryndamere being picked into Graves with Hullbreaker. The Tryndamere was going Ghost, so then the Graves had to start going Ghost to try to just actually stay alive.
Yeah.
And it becomes kind of an interesting matchup where it's early game push for Gnar. Tryndamere can eventually outscale and put on pressure, but if you're not really doing that in the side lane, if you have a bad lane in that side lane, then it's hard to have value as the Tryndamere in team fights, because there's the slow from the pillar, there's lockdown from the Leona, and especially if you're playing against glacial augment supports, I've found it very difficult to have effect in 5v5 as Tryndamere, because that slow field is actually such a big deal. You're so reliant on the Gale Force and your E Flash to actually close the gap and hopefully kill someone off instantly. But a lot of ADs these days will just play Gale Force against you, counter Gale Force, then you're in a slow zone and you're kind of like, well, I guess I ult now, and what do I do from here?
So a quick primer on Trynd versus Gnar from solo queue data. Looking over the last month at all ranked games. Matchup's pretty flat. right? You're not really hard counted either way. Tryndamere is the better early game champion kind of overall. First blood rate is higher, first tower rate is higher, win rate in 20-minute surrenders is higher, and then over time, as you go into the team fight phase, if Tryndamere fails to win the game through split push, well, Gnar's a better 5-on-5 champion, right? And so that's probably what I'm going to look at for that 1v1 specifically. You can see he's even not running teleport. Kumo is just about playing the side lane. You know if you're 5-on-5ing into a Gnar, you're trolling as the Trynd here, even though you can't immune. It's just not great. So all about split push for Kumo.
And honestly, even to function in a lot of 5v5s, Ghost is really important. And you can't just take Ghost DP because you need to be able to E-flash onto these marksmen to actually kill them off. Your job in the later stages of the game is killing the backline as Tryndamere. So you really do kind of get pigeonholed into playing Flash Ghost. It's mostly what we have seen throughout competitive play, even when it was kind of played mid lane. We were seeing that a lot too. So it's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited to see the Veigar. I'm excited to see the Hecarim. We are getting these mix-ups. Hecarim, kind of notoriously crappy in the early stages, but you do have a good AoE clear. So starting on the Raptor camp is always going to be pretty darn effective. And toucouille is doing the same tech that we saw from Bjergsen, which was the Predator. So going to be looking to get early boots. We didn't see it first base from Bjergsen. He had enough gold for Lost Chapter, which is just like always a good buy. But as soon as you get that, there is the threat of just walking at him and caging him with someone behind you.
Want to point out a fat dub for toucouille, able to land a Q before minion spawn. He's got one bonus ability power.
He turned off the first strike.
If he hit him in time, turn off first strike, no gold earned. So there's the 2 now as he gets in minion CS, but obviously
can't come back from that.
I mean, it's very difficult to do so. But I think he's got it in him. You know,
don't think so. I think it's over. He's got 4 AP.
All right, well, it might be a rip, but we've got a nice jump in on a Johnsun down to half HP. With Aftershock, Huhi can take a pretty big trade, but then on the way out, well done by FlyQuest. It's so important. Something I see high elo players do and low elo ones not do is getting damage on the way out, like this as well. This is how you keep up in a range versus melee situation, is that 120 damage back afterwards when they have to walk back into the wave.
Exactly. You don't win the initial upfront trade, you know, as the Gnar to this Tryndamere, but you can chase them down. You can slow them with the boomerang. Post level 2. Oh, this is problematic.
Goes for flash. Does he? Yeah, I think he's going to learn Q. I think there was a world where he learns W and goes for the slow, and if he gets it, like Ssumday kind of just dies. But really nice play. I mean, Ssumday obviously was too far up, not realizing spinning slash is going to give him 2 and be in range.
But he also forced the flash because he got a crit, I believe, with full rage, right? So it's like you kind of get that through, I think, going Q. So it's tough. I mean, I think you almost always want Q at level 2 to threaten the all-in.
I mean, it gives you the flat AD, which is obviously useful,
Yeah, and being able to have you know, the potential there to be able to have that flat AD, to also have the heal, you know, through the sustain is pretty important. But he could have flash followed. He would have needed another crit to actually be able to kill him, realistically. So I actually think he made the right choice. I think it's a low percentage play.
Well, is Kumo going to lose his flash? Is his E up? Yes, it is. So thumbs up. He's holding the cooldown at appropriate times. And an important sense for top laners to have. What is the timing when a top laner will be here? Save the cooldown. You pretty much can't be forced to die spinning slashes up, which only won't do enough. And that's a slow to be landed. That's an E4. That is decent damage. No crits on this one with about 15% chance. So not a surprise, but still good damage. And Ssumday is already out of potions.
I think every Tryndamere player is surprised when they don't crit. You know, even when, well, I thought I had it. It was level 1.
Can't do math.
I eat in towards him. I auto-attacked him 3 times.
Look at what he's doing, though. As long as he's playing it safely enough. I mean, Closer is back.
I mean, Closer can flash follow him over the wall.
Yeah, you E away, then you flash out if you need to. Flash follow. He burns the heal. Red buff is still on.
He's got to flash the wall now.
Yep. And that pillar was a little bit sooner. Kumo wastes the flash and dies, so that was really tight.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually really well played there by Closer, because as you say, you can actually create it so it's a longer flash, and he'll then just flash into the wall there, because he won't actually get to the 50% mark through the wall, so he won't traverse to the other side. But that was pretty aggressive stuff from him. Not really kind of paying respect to Closer, and Closer was always going to chase on that play. Trading your flash for flash is actually a big deal there, because now somebody doesn't really have to worry about the all-in, whereas before, without flash, when Ghost came back up, Kumo likely could have actually looked for resources, and you put your range top laner into a good position in the early stages, which is really where he needs to be, because this lane gets hard later on.
Oh,
Jose on the wraparound.
This is probably going to be killed. Mega Gnar or not, it's a flashless Gnar. Hecarim is here. He can throw him back in. Well-timed stun. Still has the knockback, though. That'll be enough. Can they give it over? They do. First blood into Kumo. Attention in the volatile top lane. Tryndamere favored early. Burns the flash at level 2, and the gank makes good on it.
Yeah, really well done, and great timing on the gank. You see that stacked wave? Gnar is desperately trying to reset the wave and get the hell out of there. He knows that he's in danger, but he didn't have any wards available. You know, he's in trouble because that ward was actually turned off in the tri-brush by the pink ward. As a result, Jose finds the angle here, gets the kill, is able to just wrap around. So did Jose? Oh, he pinked it. You should have known that. Then I take it back.
One auto, two autos, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's tough. I think he actually might have gotten out. This was close because Jose just barely got the angle to knock him back. He did stay in a split second longer. It's also a really tough decision because if you actually base there with like 3-wave stack pushing your opponent, all of the minions that come out for him are going to die, right? Yep. You know, so you're going to lose a lot off of that. Ssumday in trouble though now.
Oh, but Kumo is dangerously low as well. Has to burn the heal. I don't think Ssumday's in range for any more. Kumo will eventually out-sustain, but that was a really good trade by Ssumday. And as Closer walks up, I mean, this is tower diveable, right? Like, he shouldn't be hitting 6.
I don't know what his experience is at. Just basing it on Gnar, I mean, Gnar's, you know, like half a wave from 6. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pillar, but Ghost was back up. It gets him out of range. I feel like they could have maybe gone for the dive with the whole wave. I'm not sure, though.
I think with the Ghost coming back up, it's probably pretty risky there to try to chase in, because as soon as he gets out of that pillar slow, he is pretty quick. So if you haven't killed him instantaneously there, you may just die to the tower. But again, a little bit of pressure, and that wasn't a lot of time spent because Closer's actually doing the scuttle up on top side. Ssumday is now 6. Kumo has got to be really close. He will get it here off of this big wave that he's actually going to pick up, and then Ssumday has to be a little bit careful. But again, because of 2 summoners forced by his jungler, a lot of the all-in threat is kind of gone from Kumo. So still, overall, looking very good for Kumo. The fact that he got first blood, the fact that his jungler was able to get up there and really help him out to finish off on what was a good early advantage that he created for himself on the early level 2, means he's going to be feeling really good about his spot in this game, because this is the time where Gnar is supposed to be kind of like having a bit of the push, having a little bit more of the pressure. But if you die early, I do think it's pretty problematic.
Okay, here we go. Looks for it again. Wants to time the slow. Does dodge the slow. Well done, Ssumday, to land the auto at the right time. Be facing forward. Thank you very much. And Mega Gnar, of course, is going to be a no-trade zone. Kumo down a gank, if you're going to count it. 1 from Hecarim, 2 from the Trundle. Still doing pretty well, has a CS lead, and here's number 2, JoseDeodo on the way. Ssumday has ulti, basically ungankable, and indeed not going to get much more done. Throws Kumo back out.
Yeah, just coming in there for a little bit of a trade, gets a bit of damage down onto Ssumday. They know he doesn't have TP, so that damage is more valuable. It will stick. And he can't stay around, because if you actually wait in mini Gnar at the tower, they just dive you with Tryndamere ulti and Hecarim ulti, because Trundle is cross-mapping right now. He's on the other side of the map, so he has to base. It does mean he's probably going to lose a wave, but they're trying to dive bot side.
Well, Glacial's on the step back. They're slowed down. Huhi's going to flash out of short range. No problem there. Next up is Closer. He will die to the tower. No, he drops the range there as well. A clean 3v2 dive. No casualties. 100 Thieves. What else? Winning through the bottom lane.
They juggled the aggro perfectly there. Johnsun trying to have the outplay, just barely doesn't get the kill onto Closer, who stays alive, flashing to follow Johnsun and pulling himself out of that tower range. I'm not sure if Johnsun could have survived if he actually stayed under tower or not. It's a really tough call there. toucouille, though, has the Predator, is trying to threaten here with the cage, but doesn't want to early pop it and have somebody just walk away. They are going to zone him away, though, and there's no real response coming up here from 100 Thieves, so it will be their Herald, and it's going to be the kind of tale of 2 lanes, right? Very likely to focus towards top lane, trying to enable this Tryndamere, where 100 Thieves are going to continue to look to snowball FBI, who got so far ahead off that, because he was already up farm. Johnsun lost farm at the tower trying to defend the dive, and both those kills went to FBI.
That is a huge Aphelios. Look at that. Yeah. Noon Quiver. He's got the pickaxe. He's got Berserker's Greaves there as well. That is beautiful. He is so damn far ahead. As you can see, the Jinx mostly trying to farm it out, right? Early Cole. Trying to scale up, and that's a tough look right now. So 900 gold lead, 100 Thieves, but FlyQuest onto their second neutral objective. They're not supposed to be winning in the bottom lane, but the wave was shoved in. toucouille got enough done in the mid lane that this is going to be the first dragon.
Notice that this ward is not actually turned off by that pink ward. So this is one of those things where you have to actually be careful about your placement. You know, that does not turn off that ward. You've got to have it more central or people can sneak them in. This is something you see happen, you know, more frequently than you would like, especially because Dragon can bump your wards, so you actually have to be a little bit more cognizant about where you are placing them there. There's some sneaky ones as well you can do around Baron where you place it, you know, just outside of the pit, right against the wall, so you can see people enter, and people often put their ward too far in and or don't sweep outside, you know, thinking that it's covered. So little things that you can sometimes optimize to try to make the most of those pink wards. And toucouille here to check in on the Veigar. 85 bonus AP so far. Quite a lot this early on, and we'll see if he can just continue stacking it up. Ever since Veigar got, I think it was the Q cooldown reduction buff, it has been seeing quite a bit of play in solo queue, so I'm glad to see it making its way into pro, because I do think it's an incredibly strong pick, especially against a lot of melee-heavy teams. It's really tough to team fight in effectively against the Veigar as a melee champion. You have to be so careful about that cage, and a lot of times your melee engages and Veigar will actually just cage between the melee and the range. So the dive comes in from Leona and the Trundle and the Gnar, and all of a sudden Corki and Aphelios have a cage between them and their melee champions, and they can't follow up, and your front line just dies. So it's really tough to deal with if the Veigar uses it appropriately.
And then it just becomes, can you tank this for long enough that, you know, that 2 second or so stun is going to be enough for you. Merc Tread's a reasonable option here, based on, you know, the Hecarim Fear mattering, Veigar's entire kit mattering, the Chompers, Thresh's pretty much entire kit, all those Merc Treadsable. So I don't think Ssumday's making the wrong choice. He has to win against Tryndamere. No. That man is entirely out of tech.
If you rush Mercs here again.
Yeah, you don't rush Mercs, but like I could see him like getting Warden's Mail first or something, or like trying for a fighter mythic and hoping it's enough. Like there's a case. I just
think the move speed is really what he wants here. Valuable. The move speed is super valuable. And if you're saying the move speed is super valuable, you need to rush tier 2 boots, and you don't want to spend your gold on Merc Treads, right? So I think it's for sure the right call here. In these range versus melee matchups, especially against Tryndamere who's playing Ghost, you need to have move speed to have a chance, because then if you have tier 2 boots, at least if you proc your hyper, you hit him with Q slow, like you can run him down or outrun, you know? Because even on the offensive side, tier 2 boots sometimes matter more than the damage items in these kind of things because of what you were talking about earlier, which is the return trades, right? Where he spins forward, he hits you. Then if you have good move speed, you can maybe chase him down if you proc hyper and get some autos on the return to make that trade a little bit more even, especially because Tryndamere also was rushing tier 2 boots.
I just saw attempted Predator play toward mid as toucouille came forward as JoseDeodo cleared out a ward, and just a Valkyrie backwards for Abbedage. The Predator will be back in time. In plenty of time, I should say, for the next Dragon spawn. So we'll see if FlyQuest is number 2. Aphro going to be tanking a pillar. Ultimately going to be fine. The early slow was nerfed a while back. Not a big threat there as Kumo lanes the slow, so he's going to ghost forward. Decent damage here. Is it going to be enough is the question. Ssumday has Gnar, does not blow the ult. He wants to hold it. I believe the cooldown's short enough that he would still have it in time for the dragon fight. Regardless, it's going to be a stun, a lantern, a flash forwards. A lantern is going to be enough. It is not. The lockdown is there. Bought what time he could. Not going to be enough. Well done to find that kill.
Yeah, going aggressive. They get the kill. Kumo looking again, but without Ghost. That's that move speed. The 2-2 boots. He procs hyper. He walks away, but they're going in. Nice flash.
Yeah, they get the flash out. It's going to be enough. Now close here for a bit more. How much can they tank? A knockback by some space, but Ssumday going to keep doing a bit of a free hit right here. Kumo just barely does not get the hyper procced on him, and so he's going to have to walk away. And, well, still, 2,000 gold lead 100 Thieves. Sure, they're down a dragon, but the Herald's already been crashed. That money's been cashed in.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is you look at bot and mid, and you look at the gold difference, right? That is what's getting concerning here. Because off of that death for toucouille, Abbedage pushed in, got 2 plates. That's a full kill worth of gold himself. He got additional minions. FBI already had 2 kills and is farming all of these plates solo top lane. So he's a good 1,200 gold ahead. Mid lane is nearly 1,400 gold ahead. That is the big problem right now for FlyQuest. They do have good scaling. But Kumo's going to have to be able to buy them some time, and it hasn't looked like he's been able to push his advantage too much more. Ssumday's just going to play this passively because his carries are winning, so his job is just don't give up that much and survive. He doesn't really have to do anything more than that, and that's important to know in League of Legends. You know what your role is in the game. If other people are slamming the game, you don't need to be the hero. You just have to chill and make sure that Tryndamere is not the hero.
Yep. He's got a steel catch, he's got a phase, he's going towards some defensive options. He's gonna be all right at the end of the day. As you can see how far back Johnson's to play, has to be respectful of who he may be going for a flash ult or a flash E. Aphro, of course, could have fast fingers, but you don't want to kill yourself. Knocked on the wave a little bit there. FBI takes an auto, but I mean, honestly, going to be fine right now. Going towards what we're seeing more and more. Bloodthirster second here on the Aphelios. BF Sword is going to be that build path. 100 Thieves indeed have control, and the second Dragon is going to go 1-1, tying up that score. As Kumo tries to fight, right? He is the one winning part of the map, and just doesn't get a lot done.
No, not really able to get too much done. Ssumday Mega's out there, and it's tough to actually win that scrap. Abbeddage, though, has the package.
That's killable. That is absolutely killable. Lands a smite. Second Valkyrie not going to matter. Good early damage comes in. You can package over the Veigar stun and just get out and out of range, land some decent damage, and Hecarim closes it out. So FlyQuest walking the way back in a little bit, but mid still under fire, down pretty low on health. As Jose, I believe they look to fight over the scuttle. There wasn't one up right now, though.
Yeah, he's just going to back it off, waiting for the Veigar to move in with him, and I think he's going to start Herald now. So, they get that kill on top side, good early damage from toucouille, able to buy the time with Cage. But as you said, I do think, in retrospect, the correct play is just packaging through the Cage. He doesn't know the Hecarim's there, and it's kind of one of those weird things where generally the counterplay is, oh, well, you just dodge the skill shots and you stay inside it. But it gets very difficult, I will say, to actually stay and dodge those skill shots when Everfrost is in the mix, because you're trying to dodge all of these additional things. No. Everyone moving up here now, though. Closer has the inside track. He can actually steal this.
Kill, and it's knocked down at the wrong timing. It's going to be lost to FlyQuest. Well smited by a Closer. FBI grabs the Herald. This is going to be enough damage. Huhi dives in. This should be a kill. JoseDeodo is down. Stopwatch burn now as well. Closer also stays alive, but Kumo's in the mix. Stopwatch buys some time. Is it enough, though? Huhi getting lower and lower. Finds one kill. Looks for the lantern and gets out, but the chase is on. 2 more kills come through. Abbeddage closes out the fight.
The double kill there from Abbeddage. FlyQuest not quite enough damage to finish off the Herald there in time. The way they entered seemed a little bit haphazard, so even though they had members there, they weren't all around that pit fast enough, and all of 100 Thieves just beeline straight in. Closer gets in, the eye gets popped, and he's the one that finishes off with the smite, so they get the Herald, they take 2 towers without even using the Herald, get additional kills now onto the Corki, and they are so far ahead. And FlyQuest moving those members up, but because they're not all joined up together, 100 Thieves just go straight in. Abbeddage has that inside track where you see Aphro and Johnsun have to kind of just go around the long way, right? They're having to enter this way. Kumo's all the way down here. So by the time they actually get over there towards the pit, it is just a little bit too little too late as JoseDeodo gets picked there by Huhi over the wall. And Huhi gets hit by the Cage, but it's not really enough to quite finish him off. Buy some time there with Kumo, and now again, back to that bot side. They're looking for a dive. He has no ult.
Ulti down, Summoner's down, no way out. Kumo drops, Ssumday gets revenge. 300 gold to him. And it's going to be as much damage as the last fight. Yeah, and that's going to be a bot lane turret dying now as well. So 100 Thieves turning the corner. That is 5,000 gold. It's going to be 6,000 gold soon. This turret is always dead. FBI just getting rid of some charges on the purple gun. And then, yeah, they can stay. This is always bot lane tier 2. 800 gold split amongst the team. Most of it local. We'll see if Closer takes his share.
Yeah, I think he's just covering because they don't know exactly where everyone is, so you're a little bit nervous about having your AD hang around. So at the very least, he's just going to stay in the brush. He's backing up now, and here comes Jose. So good thing he did stay around to protect him. Yeah,
the man would have died in the 1v1. I'm pretty sure FBI doesn't have the jewels to get away. Yes, he could cleanse the fear, but I think Hecarim still actually wins it. Yeah,
with Ghost as well as Phase Rush, there's no getting away. Even if you Gale Force away and cleanse the fear, you just don't create any distance. You kind of just get ran down by the base stats of Hecarim at this point in the game.
Has gone for Chemtech Hecarim, by the way. The more aggressive, I should say, team fight engaging style. You can certainly play Trinity Force and play as more of the fighter, more of the bruiser. That said, honestly, just starting the fight for your Tryndamere, starting the fight for your Jinx, I think makes sense in this comp. You are playing triple carry, skewing toward tank here, I think makes way more sense based on comp, so I think intelligent choices being made. And we'll see if FlyQuest can find their way back in. They still have a pretty big Tryndamere. He is on 2 items. Problem is, Ssumday is already on Hullbreaker plus Steel Cap, so it's going to be very hard to actually kill him in that side lane.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just has to go defensive build. You don't have to do anything. We talked about this earlier. You have the additional armor from being isolated with Hullbreaker. You have the Tabby's armor. That's going to be more than enough to keep him safe from, an easy all-in from Kumo. Kumo likely is going to have to build towards even Last Whisper, which is super far off to be able to actually threaten Ssumday if he is isolated with that Hullbreaker. So it's going to be a tough time for Kumo to be able to really pressure. And he's also now down 2 levels because he's been getting pressured and missing XP and not optimizing farm. as much as he would like to because of the state of the game. So I just don't think he wins side anymore, so they're going to look for a fight. Nice cage.
The cage going to hit the back line. That's just going to be a deletion. Mini Gnar has no MR and gets basically solo killed by the Veigar. Mid lane is completely open. JoseDeodo getting some damage. toucouille doing the same now. And how's 100 Thieves going to do anything about this? I mean, the river is kind of just owned at this point. Jose should be able to walk away cleanly. And the second dragon for FlyQuest, I think,
bounty.
should be a formality. It should be an objective bounty. Of course, the kill on Ssumday valuable as well. It would be a miracle steal. Rockets land in Fog of War, and it's going to be a walk away. But mid lane tier 2 could be under assault. Nah, Wave's going to be caught.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, they grabbed the bounty top, the top tier 1 already. Johnsun grabbed early, so now they get the dragon bounty. They get the kill on a Ssumday. So a nice little swing in gold. It was, nearing 6K, I believe, actually, after 100 Thieves took that bot lane tier 2. So a nice little bounce back. We'll see if they can get anything more. Just going to use the Jinx ult for scouting, see if there's any sort of cheesy Baron play. With the Aphelios, we can watch this one more time. Just Predator, Veigar, run straight up, drop the cage. Somebody tries to get out the back of it. Does get comboed here by the Veigar. The Jinx ult over the top, plus the Jinx rockets were keeping him safe, giving him the range to still hit there. Nice little return fire from Abbeddage over the top, but it wasn't enough to actually, push back Johnsun and toucouille.
We'll see. Bjergsen yesterday ended the game on exactly 1,000 ability power on Veigar. We'll kind of keep that track going to see.
216 bonus right now.
216 bonus. The total, once you get death cap, is probably going to be, that's going to go to like 500-600 when you get all the way to death cap. Obviously, the 35% bonus is pretty nice. But that's still a ways away. Does not have the second NLR nor the combine, which is 1,100 itself. So it is a slow build path, but clearly worthwhile.
And he is on 1,500 gold, so he has some cash in pocket here, looking to just kind of keep farming that up. He's going to sit on the tier. Probably he could go that second, but I just generally think that going death cap second is just so valuable because of the interaction with your passive and all that free AP that you get.
Yep.
Archangels is fine, but you can just go at third, honestly, or go void staff and just sit on the tier because tier is a great laning phase item.
Yeah, one important thing to think about with the game is that your early power spikes matter, getting online for stuff. And so, for example, you could go Seraph's Embrace and you can spike and get, 25 ability haste.
Yep.
And some AP, but the AP flat, is fairly irrelevant because, hey, what do you care? Most items, or a lot of games, I would say, about half of games, you're not going to get to your third slot. So do you want to play half your games when you never hit death cap on Veigar?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yep.
So just get it second, get that online as soon as possible. Yeah, you've got less haste. Yes. And you're sitting there on a trough where you've got component. But at least you get the death cap and can play some flat fights.
Absolutely. And I think there's nothing wrong with just sitting on tier the whole game.
Yeah.
That can happen in a lot of games. Generally the way I think about playing mages mid lane is if I can get my Lost Chapter base, I just go Lost Chapter. If I cannot, a lot of times I'll just grab a tier. That's enough to kind of get you through that hump in the early stages. It's not that expensive. You can upgrade it to Seraphs in a lot of cases, but even if you just end up sitting on it for the rest of the game, it's not a big deal.
Want to point out, though, Kumo has caught up in levels. You mentioned a 2-level lead, 13 to 11. It's back to 13-13. So Kumo has been able to get these side lanes again, catch right back up and farm. 192 is a pretty reasonable clip. He is on the way towards Essence Reaver, so he is delaying that Lord Dominic's or that Cyrilda's to get
probably
more
Nagori
ability
quick
haste.
blades, I assume, maybe? Or
it might be, I think with that, that's a quick blades build, yeah. I forget the build path. I've seen Reaver on him as well, as an option, because you cast so many spells, you often get those shooting procs. But yeah, Quick Blades is it's the more, I want to say greedy, it's the more expensive option. It's like 700 gold more than Reaver, but it's so much
The big
ability.
thing is just the mobility, right? The ability to actually, oh no, he needed to take that.
Yeah, he didn't want to get...
he didn't want to get pillared out of it, which I
right.
get. But if you're going to have to flash from running down, then you want to take it, see it, make him make the play, right? If he makes it, then you have to flash. But now Kumo going in. Oh my God!
Deletes Corki, ulti's on. How good's the dive going to be? They trade him back, but the rocket lands on
really
Trundle,
good.
And there's nothing for Leona to do. Solo kills Abbeddage and FlyQuest. It is time to believe the road to 5-1 is paved with Kumo solo kills.
They're going to Baron here, and there's no answer at all. It's just FBI with no flash, and Ssumday, if you walk up, this is super dangerous. It's just Ssumday poking away here by himself. FBI is coming over now, but I see no way they can get this.
Miracle steal, doesn't find it. Lucky to dodge the hook, sidesteps out of the cage. No death, but there was a 1% upside. The gold is still down. It is a 2,000 gold lead to 100 Thieves. Flip the switch replay.
Exactly, we can see it one more time. Kumo just sees Abbeddage there over the wall. He just goes for it, pops the ghost in on him. Valkyrie over the wall, flash follow, Gale Force to follow the flash. Perfectly played there by Kumo. Not a lot of players are gonna know the limits there to go that aggressive into the team. Not only do they get that kill, but the Trundle burst down by the Jinx, by the Veigar. They full combo. A lot of effective plays here are being made by FlyQuest. We saw it last time when they killed Ssumday. Up front, dump all the Veigar cooldowns, the Jinx rocket over the top to get the kill. Same combo used on the closer there. They get the kill on him as well. Now death cap is completed. Let's check in on Mr. Veigar here. 761 AP. Yep. And yeah, there is a gold lead, but you also get the base stats from the Baron. You know, you're going to be able to maybe increase that gold lead potentially with the Baron. And it was a 6K gold lead, what, like 8 minutes ago or something?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is not a big deal now. 2K is not going to be the difference. It's going to be about execution. And FlyQuest have dug themselves out of the hole really, really well. Their carries are relevant. Their carries are online. And Kumo has his quick blades, so now the chase down becomes much more real in that side lane.
Cage came down, I want to say a little bit late. Closer realized it in time and got out. Not going to be locked up, but a turret falls down in mid lane. 500 gold, thank you very much. Closing that gap. Red Bull Baron power play at 2100 right now. Looks like it's going to be a bunch of camp stolen as well. Blue buff, thank you. Gromp, thank you. More money in the pockets, about 100 gold each. So there's one of them. There's the second. I guess 190, close enough.
And it looks like they want to try to play for this top lane tier 2. You know, instead of just going for the freebie in the bot lane tier 1, they're kind of just doing this 1-4. You have, excuse me, I'll bring that down. As you have Tryndamere pushing down in mid lane, and then the other 4 are playing up towards top side, and you can kind of have JoseDeodo roaming back and forth, mostly sticking with the 4. But if there isn't all in play in mid, he can move over to try to get that. And this is such a strong siege tool here, using the Veigar cage.
Nice hook, damage on a closer, half HP, almost one-shottable.
Jinx rocket.
A flash ult from Veigar would have killed. He holds the cooldown. Sidesteps FBI, didn't want to kill himself. I think it's respectful to not go for that play, but it would have been a deletion. And that's going to be a recall now away from one of the front liners of Thieves.
Yeah, and the concern there is if you flash in and you ult and you kill him, that's not a worthy trade if you die right after. And toucouille playing with respect to that. Johnsun, if he had hit the ult, would have got the kill, but Abbeddage steps forward, blocks that. So well played, I think, on both sides, making the correct choices there. The wave is stacked and pushing towards bot. Not going to be anyone there to actually kill off that tower. Ssumday should be able to get there in time to defend it, but the gold lead is pretty much all but gone, and it has to be down to execution now. 400 Thieves. Still, the opportunity to win these fights, absolutely there. Abbeddage as well as FBI are still monstrously strong. They're still both up a lot of gold. You know, it's a 2K gold lead in mid lane. It's you know, 600-700 in bot lane, but he's on his 3 core items, and he went a super expensive build. So FBI is really, really strong right now.
Ooh, they found a slow. They're going to find a knockback, maybe a fear as well. Played in, just deleted. That will not save you. A hook on a Huhi should make it easy as well, but he's got a flash, he's got an ulti, and he gets away burning some major cooldowns. But FlyQuest, salutes to you. Major cooldowns not enough. You are generally winning this game. Looking forward now at the next stun. They're going to walk back in time. Kumo does indeed come down. No play to be had. Level 15 on both top laners.
And Johnson's just killing the bot lane towers. He already took the tier 1. He's pushing the tier 2. So they get that kill mid, but it's always the play on the other side. And we're seeing a lot of these teams really leveling up. It feels like the macro this week. Yep. FlyQuest playing the map well from a deficit, finding picks where they can, getting advantages where they can, forcing the hand of 100 Thieves. Now, 100 Thieves has to go bot lane to defend the tier 2. Guess what happens mid? toucouille as well as Aphro are pushing that up. Johnsun just makes the quick rotation over because they have vision control in the jungle, and it's defended by JoseDeodo. That is great stuff to see from FlyQuest.
Exactly. It's important that everyone is playing up together. It doesn't matter that there's like 4 camps alive in FlyQuest jungle because they're taking the 100 Thieves camps. Like, these guys are still farming all 3 lanes and jungle at full efficiency, but there's nothing for closer to grab. And then when you finally do reset, oh, Jinx grabs 2 camps and takes the recall. toucouille.
Yep.
Recalls grabs the buff. Great, cool, let's keep going. And the gold lead is now 800 in FlyQuest's favor.
Exactly, and I bet Jinx does have IE on base. It does, yeah. Does have the IE there. You know, got the tower bot, got the tower mid, took the jungle camps, so was farming for that. sitting on Vamp instead of going for the IE third. So he does have the IE. Both of these marksmen are incredibly strong. Both of them have a stopwatch here. Yep. Kumo has been really having some big impact plays in these chase downs, particularly the one on Abbeddage. That was a game-changing play. It felt like they were kind of losing until that. He hadn't really been able to create a massive amount of pressure in the side lane, but now has his last whisper, you know, could be going towards a death dance or something here next, and he is looking really, really strong. toucouille has gotten to his Void Staff. He is incredibly strong. We'll check in on the AP there. 828 now,
Alrighty.
Closing in on that 1K mark.
172 to go. Cyrilda's build path, I think he was going for. I think getting a spinning slash to slow just kind of guarantees no one gets away from you. So that's the one I've been seeing. IE can round out your crit chance at 100% since you got 40 from the passive, and IE can be your third crit item at item 4. Rockets chunk Kumo to half HP though. Like, that is scary, and his sustain is not there just yet. Closer wants to walk up for a good pillar play. Instead, they'll settle for just the wave, but now Kumo gets to stack up the passive, stack up the rage, get a bit more back with the Q.
Oh, they're going to threaten Baron. But I always feel like these plays are easy to answer because you send one person to solo dragon and the other 4 contest Baron, right?
Yeah.
You know, there is package and there is Leona, so that makes it more scary, but they spot them on this. Will they even have Kumo come up, or will they have him solo the dragon? I think they're going to do that play. Yeah, it's the 1-4 split, but he's now moving up.
That is a huge hook of flaying onto the chompers. He gets the stopwatch, but he could be deleted. Johnsun times it perfectly, and now they can play. They dive on in. Is this the smite? Does he get the Baron? The team fight out of Huhi, 1100, claimed by Closer, but Kumo's in the front line. He's here for a bit more. They find kill number 2, a stopwatch for FBI, jump over the wall, staying alive, recalls coming in to play back in, and that's going to be 3 unanswered kills. A Baron for 3 kills is equal gold, but the map now belongs to FlyQuest.
Exactly, and they're going to get so much more. They're going to get the dragon for sure here. They're going to push as well. Closer is just too damn good, though, on these smite fights. It has to be said. This man don't miss. But FlyQuest win the fight after. toucouille on the wraparound here could look for an angle for a cage. If they are not careful, you got to respect the cage on the siege. But they're just going to push it in. They're going to retreat to the dragon, put themselves to soul point. Cloud Soul is big value for Hecarim. It is incredibly good as well for Tryndamere. Those are 2 of the best champions in the game, I think, specifically with the Cloud Soul, because you're getting amp damage with that ultimate, you know, throwing him in there, getting the move speed as well for the Hecarim, but also the ultimate move speed for Tryndamere allows you to chase down carries incredibly, incredibly well. And Aphro here over the wall, seeing Abbeddage, finds the hook. The pink ward was cleared out, so he lost vision of him, I guess, and he just goes straight in, couldn't react. And then, yes, he goes into the stasis, but you're coming out into the cage, you're coming out into the chompers, you're coming out into that perfectly timed Jinx ult. Beautifully done. Jose smites the dragon, or smites the Baron, excuse me, down to I think it was about 100 or 120. The perfectly timed smite right there after by Closer. He knows the fight is lost. He flashes out. He's going to recall back to base. FBI, I think, played the kind of 1v1 against Kumo about as well as he could have.
Yep.
But there's just no escaping it. And unfortunately for him, it means stopwatch is down, summoners are down, and he dies anyway.
That was the scariest point in time, because that was when both carries grabbed stopwatches, and it's like, well, if you wait out the trend and then you get the resets going forward, like, that's a great looking fight. The fact that FlyQuest won the fight against double stopwatch means they're gonna look good. Again, Baron is worth 1,500 gold and a bunch of XP. They probably went XP positive on the play, but you can see from the gold values, basically nothing moved, you know, either way on the needle. Obviously, FlyQuest now on soul point as well. That's clearly valuable. But FlyQuest are stronger now than they were a minute and a half ago.
Absolutely. And it just has been slowly crawling, that gold lead, falling and falling and falling, and now it is building for FlyQuest. As this was an early game that looked like 100 Thieves were going to be able to run away with it, but FlyQuest have just made some great plays. I don't think 100 Thieves are playing a bad game by any means. I just think they've been punished heavily from any little misposition. And that kill mid lane for Kumo was such a game changer, you know, getting them a leg in. And now sitting at soul point, sitting with a gold advantage, items getting completed here. Johnsun now, he still has his stopwatch and his BT is done. So the build is getting well and truly rounded out here for Jinx. We talked about the Void Staff, and we're getting a really cool piece of tech here. Anathema's Chains from toucouille. This is, I think, a really strong Veigar item. Not only just kind of give you some survivability and ability haste, but the reduction of tenacity is actually quite nice because you can get the super long cage stun on one of these carries, which makes it quite valuable. And it's also going to make it a lot harder for Abbeddage, who I assume he's going to actually put it on, to get that poke damage down on him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get poked quite as hard, and that CC lasts longer. Good luck getting away from that one at all. We know Aphromoo is on his way towards Mikhail's. I saw the Reju bead and the Negatron a while back, so he's on the way towards getting away from Leona stuns and helping out his team. Obviously, the mid laner doesn't have his cleanse. Yes, Johnsun can play it, but poor Veigar is going to be locked in place. Hasn't gone for Zonia's, right? So has to respect all the Leona stuff, especially when Flash is down like now. And we wait and watch because we got 2 minutes to go until Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and it seems like that's going to be the play. It's just going to be about prepping that, trying to push outside, trying to create as much of an area of darkness for 100 Thieves as they possibly can. More and more items coming through here. Looks like it is going to be the IE next here for Kumo, working towards that with some components. JoseDeodo is very, very tanky. He is on the full 3 items. Of course, that can be shredded pretty heavily by closer. This is still a very winnable game for 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they have, lost hold of their advantages. If JoseDeodo over-engages or makes any sort of misstep, you get Trundle ulted, you get shredded by Abbeddage and FBI, and the game can swing very, very quickly.
Yeah, Aphelios is absurdly scary. He's on 4 items. Exact same build, basically, as the Jinx. They've swapped mythics, but otherwise the same kind of path right here. See, as the Trundle went towards some earlier MR as well, there's not really a need for % armor pen either, so I kind of like the builds all the way around.
And I think if it comes down to a straight-up 5v5, the X factor is just going to be how well can Kumo perform? Like, what can he get done? But I think still FlyQuest would prefer 4v4s much more than that straight-up full-on 5v5. They want to be able to have Kumo draw someone to a side, look to 4v4, have the Gnar just kind of isolated in this matchup where he doesn't really want to be in that side lane. But not sure if 100 Thieves is going to be really willing to give that to them. I think they're going to be willing to give up the push a bit in a side to group for that soul fight. And then it's going to come down to, can Ssumday be really effective, or can Kumo actually get into a carry? Because if he dives backline and can't kill a carry, the fight can look pretty rough pretty quickly. And that's easy enough to happen. If you go in, you get stunned up. He doesn't have cleanse, he doesn't have QSS, so I kind of want to see Huhi focusing more, honestly, on peeling the tryndamere if he goes aggressive instead of counter diving.
Abbeddage, Guardian Angel is on, and he's got the package. This is a very powerful mid laner. I like Corki a lot at this point in time. I think he's going to get a lot done. Ward cover's going to be tough. Huhi going to check up into the brush. Chomper's down for a bit of defense. Waiting for the poke to land. First 2 going to miss, and now goes back to the waves. That's crucial that these do not land. Not everyone on FlyQuest. Basically, only Johnsun can easily sustain between these waves. Rocket 3, Rocket 4, all sidestepped, all missing. Number 5, there you go, a chunk on Aphromoo.
They're threatening Baron. They want to try to trade, but again, it's going to be that split. We'll see if they are willing to fully commit to it. I think they'd have to go immediately. But it's going to be so hard to do in Corki's face. I'm not sure this is going to work out, but they're just going to commit to it. There's no Mega Gnar, and Trundle is not there yet, so they're just trying to rush it down.
Should always be yours. This smite should always be yours. Getting burned lower and lower. Smiteable grabbed. Is there a team fight? They choose to walk away, and a spinning slash out for Tryndamere. So the attempt at Soul is given away. Both at 3 stacks now, but a Baron claim. Now the XP basically useless. They're all 18 anyway. The gold obviously meaningful. The wave pressure going to be meaningful. And we'll see what FlyQuest can now do, because that was a call, a judgment call, to give up Dragon to play for Baron. I want to see how it plays out.
And in most cases, that doesn't really work out, but the fact that Ssumday actually had just lost Mega meant he couldn't buy any time. You can't walk up there as mini Gnar and do anything about it. And it was 2 people down on the Dragon instead of just the 1, so they just straight up rushed it down. Jinx plus the Veigar, and now Abbeddage, you are in trouble.
Jose is here, level 1 Valkyrie, not going to do a whole lot. There's GA down. That cage should work every time, but it's going to be enough damage. Uh-oh, this Hecarim, he's got to ult. He will get away for a time, and reinforcements have arrived shortly. A great double stun! Closer is a tank. He built MR, and he's at half. And now you got top lane pushed down. It's time to get away. Will there be recall stopped? Yeah,
they're pushing everywhere, man. They're going super aggressive here. This is a great play from FlyQuest. They get out to GA, they get out of TP, they back it up without having a death, and now they get 2 free inhibitor towers.
That is a well-done play. They put so much pressure on bot lane, they forced the answer, and the cross-map play is taking down turrets. FlyQuest getting a lot done with the Baron. The shot culling doing well. All their wins from week 1 were comeback plays where, yeah, they're playing Jan on top, but they're getting so far behind, and they find the way back in. Here against 100 Thieves, playing, I mean, a bit unorthodox, right? Not a lot of teams play Veigar, not a lot of teams play Tryndamere, but navigating the mid game anyway. Here comes the next turret, 3 in a row knockdown. So much done during this Baron buff, and FlyQuest aren't done yet.
100 Thieves are crumbling. The base is falling apart here. Mid lane and Hib will fall. Kumo still pressuring on that top side here against Ssumday. Jose and Afro just roaming back and forth between bot and mid here, trying to keep that pressure on. And Johnsun with that long range with the rockets here. Red gun is down, so now he can feel a little bit more confident to step up here and start actually hitting this tower because we don't have that white-red combo for FBI.
A little bit of range, but yeah, not the rest of it that he wants. So we look back and forth. Johnsun, as well as FBI, have rapid-fire cannons, so you can always sneak in for that one shot. These are the last two Baron waves coming in. 45 seconds left on that buff. The last two cannons you get to use in the bottom lane. How much will they get done with it? Wave crushed easily, but how about the siege? Corki poke still very meaningful.
Hecarim just escorting in that wave, so they're going to have to respond to the Nexus towers being under threat. Jose's trying to threaten a potential dive here, but the Nexus towers are under fire, and it's closer now drawn away here as that siege minion is getting work done up on that top side, just slowly whittling away at it. So Ssumday's just going to move forward, try to tank it up. FlyQuest, it feels like it is fizzling out a little bit here, not willing to get too aggressive to move in for that play. They will back off. They do get just the one inhibitor. I thought that they were going to be able to get a second for sure.
But it is still 3.5 towers and an inhibitor, and at the end of the day, a 4,000 gold Baron power play for them. I think overall, on average, hey, that is a really good run, right? That's still a good Baron. I agree they could have gotten more. It looked like they could have. That's still a positive, at least.
Absolutely. You know, it's still a good play, but they're going to be setting up for this dragon. They get the early reset. They're going to move out. Not a lot of pinks in inventory anymore because everyone has pretty much filled up those slots, so it does become a little bit more difficult to have full confidence in your vision control in these late stages.
1077, the ability power now, so confirmed, irrefutable, toucouille, better Veigar than Bjergsen.
Yep.
More AP is better Veigar.
More AP, exactly. Yeah. Because you can make the YouTube clip with the higher number.
1083.
The 1083 AP Veigar one-shots. Coming to YouTube soon.
Yep.
But coming even sooner is going to be this soul fight. Both teams on 3 dragons. This one is going to mean a lot here. 100 Thieves has mid lane control. They're pushing up. Jose's looking.
Looks like he wants it. Huhi going to lock him down for a bit there. The stun cage is up and Closer has to flash get away. Huhi down very low as well, but good damage to the FBI. Just chunks the backline. That's a GA down. And what can Johnsun do except die? Ssumday's in for the slow. They're going to get the AD carry. And just like that, 100 Thieves flip the switch. And the map belongs once again to the 100 Thieves.
That is such a long death timer here. Tryndamere's just running for that top lane, trying to push it in, trying to threaten across map play. But it's going to be soul here for 100 Thieves. That is such a big deal. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. 100 Thieves have been losing control. But if you overextend there, as the Hecarim, if you get too far from your team, they can focus you down. And JoseDeodo, as a result, was too low to really ult back in. He was a non-factor in the fight. Then the Corki poke plus the Infernum ulti from FBI and Abbeddage chunks out that backline, and just like that, it's a rout for 100 Thieves, pushing FlyQuest further and further away. They're able to get full control, get the soul, and we'll see where they can take us from here because it's still anyone's game. Johnsun now sold the boots, so he's on a true 6-item build here. They got a lot of power, but that soul is going to make a difference. The additional move speed is really valuable.
Drops the GA. Says, actually, there's nothing else I can buy. GA doesn't sell very much. It's a 40% sellback rate. Nice stun. Is that enough for Aphromoo? No, it's not. Flashes in for more. He wants this fight. Is it going to be enough? The package is good, but his GA pops. But toucouille can't get much done. Has to flash over the package. Finds a double root, but he should die. Nearly one-shots FBI. Rocket! Johnsun comes back from the grave, and FlyQuest come back from the dead. The fear lands, and everybody is wiped off the map. Do you believe in FlyQuest on the road to 5-1, knocking down first place 100 Thieves?
toucouille with such a good play there. It's skeet shooting, knocking Abbeddage out of the sky, one-shots him on the package, then finds the multi-man Everfrost for the massive amount of damage, setting up for Johnsun to come through, cleans him up with the Jinx ulti. That was incredible from toucouille. What a play to finish it. They thought they had the Veigar caught, but he had them caught. And he turns it around. What a finish. You can see the smile on their face. That is such a big win, meaning even more because they started from so far down. 100 Thieves looked like they were going to cruise to an easy win. They're up 4, 5, 6K relatively early on to this game, but FlyQuest making the right calls, playing the map incredibly well. Key moments for from multiple players when they needed it. Afro's big hook onto the Corki early on. Kumo's actual solo kill on the Corki. It was actually a lot of plays around Abbedage. The one shot on the package there, I think that was just a Q ulti. I really want to see that last play, but that was just package in from Corki, and he got Q ulted, I believe, right out of the sky. One shot into the GA. Everyone's trying to pile in onto toucouille. He didn't have his cage, but he had the Everfrost. He finds the Everfrost, and this late in the game, you know, he had a Lich Bane. He has like 1,200, 1,300 AP. You land that one combo, it's almost 100 to 0. And Johnsun, he finds the ulti. It splashes from one onto FBI, who tried to flash out of the way of it, but the splash was big enough to get that double kill there. And that was it. I mean, this was just such an exciting game and such an exciting finish.
Yep.
Veigar's a strong pick, man.
Veigar is strong, and hey, we should be seeing more and more of him. There are some very small nerfs in 12.4 for next week, but this champ should be in way more games. FlyQuest got the clutch gene. They are alone in first place, and so for now, we are sending onto the stage for our Verizon post-game interview.